round of applause for David Calvo. Hey. All right, thank you so much for having me here. It's very humbling to be with so pretty people, talented people. This is a talk about creation and spirituality. I hope I won't offend anybody here, and if I do, please accept my apologies. I will also not try to pronounce a certain word. If I do pronounce it, just please shout. I won't tell you what the name of the word is. Just guess. I don't know. All right, okay. Let's do it. A few years ago, I was standing in a ferry, crossing the waters of the Faxaflor Bay, Reykjavik Island. I was moving toward this teeny inlet of Vide. I was searching for a peculiar shade of blue, a blue I had seen in dreams, and I was desperate for this blue in my life. It was like a calling, really. But to be frank, I was in Iceland because depression was threatening to become my word, and because everything and everyone seemed to fade away from me. I had given up on my real dream, the only one that mattered. And now that I was an adult, I need to confront it. I wanted to be a cartoonist. This is me, Marseille. When I was a child, I used to draw all the time, like a lot of children do, I guess. I wanted to sit there and drawing on the page in deep contemplation of these fake windows, panels, bubbles. I was ready for it. My master plan was to bring cartoons in the real world. My religion was, at this point, was Disney. The Three Caballeros, Song of the South, that crazy underwater sequence in backnobs and broomsticks. I was obsessed with pit dragons. I wanted my own dragon, and my first comic book was about a giant barracuda eating tourists on a beach in Mallorca. I was slowly growing into an ambitious, pretentious, lazy boy. That's me here. Too busy thinking about how cool it would be to be a cartoonist, but not really working hard for it. I was proud. You can tell. I was proud, individualistic. I didn't want to learn. I just wanted it all, without the fatigue. I wanted it now. And I failed, miserably. And that's the sad truth. I had given up drawing 15 years ago because I thought writing novels and designing things for others will be easier. And you know what? It was. These are my books. I was making a living, and I'm making a living as a designer, and I became what the French media call a cult writer, ego, a fameless, self-centered, voluntary, obscure, anti-artist. For all these years of frustration, the misery of my inner child was expressing itself into pages after pages of spirals, waves after waves, like this chap in this movie Dark City when he used to carve spirals on dead prostitute's chest. That's from this era. Right. Freak things from hell, these curves, despair made visible. I drew hundreds, thousands. I covered my life with them. I could really spend hours in deep trance, filling notebooks with formless, whirling emptiness. I paid no attention to the why. I kept the momentum of my hand, not knowing that I was already training. But training for what? Suddenly, after all these years, I was back in Vide, in a teeny cave called Paradise, on a hill where maidens used to come to meet human husbands. In this cave made for two, in this cave in Iceland, I sat alone and I waited. And I started to draw on the soil. And what came, surprisingly, was my own fairy under the tip of my right finger. Out of boredom, I drew a spiral in the sand, and the spiral suddenly opened like a flower. It bloomed on the moisted earth, searching for the glory that was the sun. For the first time in years, I realized why I had been so sad and why I was spending evenings smoking my life and dreams away, why I was cramping in the stomach all the time at work, why time seemed so fast. I was in pain because I had forgot about my best friend, my only home, drawing. It was like fighting after all these years, hiding in the closet, under all the crap I had consumed to hide by despair. This nice, sweet, giant green dragon or barracuda waiting for me. And I was letting go, finally. Okay. It doesn't come up very well, I'm sorry, because the screen is really, I don't know why. So my drawings are not good. I'm sorry about that. Well, doesn't matter. It's the subject of the talk anyway, failure. So there I was, almost halfway through life, almost half dead, busy trying to discover how in the world I could find the time to make up for all these lost hours and start maybe a new career from scratch. It was tough. I had solid engagements, publishers for my writings, a job in design, the fact that I needed health insurance, a place to live, the fact that I was getting older and older. It was too heavy. Call that a midlife crisis if you want. I call it hunger for beauty. Despite every irrational thoughts, there I was cramming my small drawings into every minute, seconds, going as fast as I can to stay alive inside, like clinging on a raft in the darkest storm. Oh God, it's shitty. Too bad. Let me go through them because it's really, I can't stand this. Jesus Christ, okay. I filled hundreds of notebooks, things unknown. Woo! I filled hundreds of notebooks, things unknown, busy trying to fix a line that I could call a style, something I had to synthesize from those cave flowers, out of the spirals. As a pragmatist, in the philosophical Jamesian sense, I start with what I have. So I had to understand what I was able to do, not what I wanted to. I exercised with real-life drawing, perception, Zen drawing, intuitive creation. But the only thing that struck me as real was this weird, improvised line born out of the deep that I called myself. And you know what? The crazy thing, I really don't know what I was drawing until I had finished it. I was drawing. If you asked me to draw a polar bear, I couldn't. But if you asked me to draw anything, I might have been able to draw you a very nice polar bear. I was just having fun, doing things the way I wanted without directions or technical constraints. And what I thought would just be a passing whim became something that has actually swallowed my whole life. Because all this time, thinking I was learning to draw, I was really learning to play and learning to breathe again. I've always played. Play for me is an essential way of living. It's and learning and experimenting and loving. I write my books by playing with them, and I design by playing with people, and I draw by playing with the lines and the full and the empty. I love playing with other people, engaging them in a dance of sounds and gestures, not to seduce, but to express life, moving my hopes from one mind to another, and sometimes, if I'm lucky, from one body to another. I'm not getting lucky these days. Call that old age. Where I am. All right. As a player, I've always understood play as a space. Each play session, okay, let me try to see if I have something there. Okay, I think we'll stick with this one for a while. I'm sorry. I don't know who is this guy, but could be me. Almost dead. As a player, I've always understood play as a space. Each play session opens up a window, gazing into new dimensions, filled with vibrant colors, teeming with life. Ironically, I have made a living injecting life into what many just considers numbers, algorithms, processes. I think numbers and symbols can be alive through us. It is magic. It is our only magic. The same way we are bringing dreams in reality by painting emotions over unfamiliar faces or foreign cities, dreams and imaginations are a canvas on which we can paint reality, with which we can design questions. The more I drew, and the more I played, and the more I started to unravel myself and the world around, because we are all ruled by the same laws. Suddenly, everything started to make sense. Creation is at the heart of consciousness. The The search for grace, this wild, unkept movement of organic self-organization, is a vast play space, a playscape that we can all see if we learn to stay quiet and listen and start from what is, absorbed in the process of giving and nurturing life. This is what we are born for, before we retire and die, leaving behind not an oeuvre, not fame, but a soft and gentle breath, saying, we were there. Drawing and playing has opened a vast territory for me to explore, but it took me years before I could find an expression that I could conjure and not tell, but express what I was experiencing. I felt that the gap between analogic and digital had to be filled. Drifting fragments of electronic expression melted in analog signals, inherited both from second-hand art and non-linear world models. Systemic poems, really, where observation and movement can translate into patterns deciphered with emotional intelligence. It's not about the what anymore, it's about the why. We all need to make a living. I know, you all, we have to live there in this reality, right? Dreaming is not enough. We can go around spending our precious time and skills for useless free little poems thrown into the digital wind, offered to whoever will happen to catch them. Let me tell you something, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. And this is why I'm talking to you today so awkwardly. It's easier for me because I have chosen a daily job to provide the means for my creation. And now it's gone. All right, fuck it. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, I'm here. Whatever. Where was I? It's easier for me because I have chosen a daily job to provide the means for my creation. It might not last. I might end up poor and sad and broken. I might also be able to sustain myself from these pieces, like ruins, explored by the future me, maybe. But I am not concerned about the future. I want to build the present on this impossible tree that is growing today between us and around the world. An impossible tree, a dream of a tree, our tree. Creation is not exact science. I think this is the one I wanted to show you. Everybody has a way to get there, using tropes and procedures. Is there a way to create in an improvised, quasi-magical state of mind, using dreams and the voice of nature and the sound of your breathing, not expecting any outcome, not sending any message, but trying to channel energy into light? We are all fighting for meaning, but if the meaning is revealed, then the meaning is over. We cannot state. How do we achieve ambiguity? Ambiguity is the daughter of quiet minds. Ambiguity is about how we restrain and how we give and why we give. Computers are very good at it because they can hide so much things from us. And we can play with them, and as I play with you right now. Robert Altman, that's from Nashville. Bruegel. Ernst Stars of the Lead. Lisa Clark. All these people are amazing artists, and they understand the majesty of the ensemble, the contemplation of a seminal moment where something can take place or everything has already taken place. All playing with closed or open systems, hoping to sustain ambiguity, sometimes not even knowing they do. Is all this random gibberish, lazy postures, or as some famous designer coined once, poetic nonsense? Or is it a subtle, conscious way of amplifying signals in order to reduce cognitive dissonance and adjust agency for the viewer, for the watcher, for the player? Is it more? Some of these artists have touched the sublime. Sublime? Sublime. Sublime. The rest of us will only revel in grace. That's a start. Attaining goals, measuring performances, usefulness, all this has to go, or at least recede from the prominent place we have given them in our individual and collective endeavors. 10 take the so-called fun notion, for instance, the fun factor, as we call it in the industry, that I'm part of, right? Of course I use it all the time in my daily work for studios because I have to, because it's the way it is supposed to be, because it's where we learn. But why am I playing this? Why am I designing this? Observing the system at work is already something massively entertaining for me. I can spend hours watching birds on a cliff or teeny pixels echoing in sound. Things I play that I like are usually considered boring, and most of the time, even when there is no fun, I'm always looking for silence. I sit down and I watch and I breathe. Now, I'm not advocating boredom or intellectual prise de tête, I would say. I'm stating an obvious fact. Not everything measurable should be measured. We should leave blank spaces and teach how to fill the void, deliberately or not. It can be done. I've seen it. It's not a fantasy. Hundreds of young artists, some of them right here, right now, with us, in this room, are trying the best they can to express the impossible. This is The Manhole by Ron and Randy Miller, 88. Beautiful, Carol-esque game. I said it, oh God. No, it's not even a game. It's not even a game, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I've seen it. I said it, fuck me. There was nothing to do there, just wander around, you know. The Cove by Caitlin Fisher in 2000, it's a zero-puzzle IF landscape with a moving, feminine, beating heart at its core. Well, the game does have a score, but it's just to tell you how much things you still need to discover in order to understand yourself. The Prisoner 2 by David Mullick in 1980. It's actually, I don't know if I have a picture of this. No, I don't. It doesn't matter. It's an ancient Apple II adventure based on the TV show, and it's so abstract and obscure. It doesn't make any sense. It's insane. Where's Fatal? Fatal. I don't know if I have to speak about this thing, but it's a sort of blend of deep spatial spirituality and profound cultural meaning for me. I'm still struggling with it. It's coming straight from my dreams. It's perfect. In my own work, I try to create pocket words. It looks like, oh God, it's terrible. God, I'm ashamed of myself. I try to create pocket words, and maybe this is Quan. This is the thing we're doing right now. It's a world where basically nothing happens, and then you can draw flowers, and then you can draw constellations, and then you can share them and express your love for people. It's like basically a giant hut simulator, building huts and doing things that has no interest for anybody except us. I will show the game if you're interested in not doing anything with it. Talk is a failure. Oh my God, I have failed on this, whatever. Okay. So I'm almost done, I'm sorry. I have a spiritual inclination. My soul demands it. I have a gift from amazement, interdependent from the orthodoxy of practice and cultural preferences. I am looking for ways to grow, to elevate our medium beyond entertainment. I'm as bored as anyone by pretentious garbage and ceremonial sanctity of the word. And I mean word, not word. Does it make any sense? Yes? Okay. But I do hope that we can find a way between these two opposites in a way to reconcile them in our hearts. We are oracles for ourselves. We have, for all we know, the specificity of being able to ask the fundamental questions of the how and the why. We continually push ourselves against the wall of all we don't know. And our reaction, as far as human thought can go, was always and still is to gaze into the abyss and say, I think there might be something there. I'm not talking about blind faith in fairy tales. I'm talking about waking up from this fascinating, unfinished nightmare we call postmodernity. Whatever that means, if it ever meant anything. We all need to reclaim our ethics and our collective oneness, and the path I have chosen is the path of the invisible way out, crossing over. It's my path. I'm not preaching that you do the same. I just want to know why I do it. Postmodernity wants to send mystery, chaos, back to a fake past where it can be sold and packaged as a rational commodity for a rational world. Spirituality doesn't fit into this vision. Spirituality is essentially mysterious, and in French, spirituality is female. She wants us to accept a certain quantity of ignorance, and she negates control. I don't find that a problem. I have faith in us. I have faith in the little things we do, as useless and futile it can be. We are fragile. I love things that seems to be barely under control, out of tune in a beautiful way, dissonant, damaged. It's okay to be imperfect. My fucking drawings don't show on this goddamn screen. I've worked on this for hours, days, weeks, and I fucked it up. All this sounds atrociously serious, but it's not. It's actually quite silly. I think we are not indulging in our full potential of our silliness, in the fact that we are all paradoxical. Silly is good, silly is freedom, silly can bring the anarchy we are craving for. I still don't understand why we need to divide ourselves into this or that, art or commerce, message versus oblivion, ludology versus narratology, stories versus words, God versus reason, humans against humans, girls against boys, adults against children. As a designer, as journalists, as creators, we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the people we are sending these fragments to. We are giving back these questions and keep on asking them the right way, through play. We can provide answers, we give tools, we give practice. It's about what we want to achieve during a lifetime as human beings. It's about how we decide to stand in the middle of the fight in this narrow space we call home, this tree, a play space where we can embrace paradoxes. This tree we are building is a community of mind. This tree is our trees, and each of us has his own path on its leaves and chirping at each other's. I want to sit on this tree forever because it's the only thing that really matters to me. And who cares about fame, innovation, or money when one is caring for a tree? The privilege of life is to offer the world who you truly are. This is not a message. It's not a thing we do. It's what we are, how we live our life, and the courage we bring to it. And if I can give back one tiny shard of grace to this world in small visions of beauty without burdens, so be it. Here they are, fucked up. Thank you.